This is Pod to the Futures with Mitch Moss and Jonathan Von Tobel on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
What's up, folks? Welcome in. It is Pod to the Futures. I think it's like episode 6. I was going to keep track. I had this grand plan of being like, episode 100, folks. This is going to be great. I've already lost track of what's going on. But that's all right. Mitch Moss is here. I think the MVP conversation is first and foremost after this weekend, is it not?
I think it has to be because, I'm holding a ticket. I went back and looked yesterday live on Follow the Money. I do have Drake Maye 95-1 from October 2nd. Okay. So earlier this month, holding that ticket. And the way that he closed that game on Sunday, I'm like, man, we are really cooking here. And then also, my only thought last night watching the Chiefs game was, there's another interception from Mahomes. After he threw his second one, I'm like, this is a thing of beauty for us. And then after that, Mahomes just went scorched earth, basically. But look, the odds right now, again, I know that you said this yesterday on Money Moves as well when I was listening to the program about Victor Wembanyama. If the season ended today,
right? Yeah,
where would he be? Like if the season ended today, would Mahomes really be the MVP of the league? I don't think so. But I think that it's basically a 4 or a 5-man race at this point in the league. And I'm feeling pretty good, to be honest, where I'm at with Drake Maye.
So I'm interested. I think Maye is in a good spot. Like he's one of the 4 horses, if you will, that is running right now at the top of the pack. So like you said, you're in a good position. There's still plenty of track left, but like you can't ask for a better one for the most part, given your position and whatnot. The thing that I brought up, if you were listening yesterday with Stormy and I, and you like to do our FOMO bets, this might just be one for me because I'm a fan. I'm coming more around to the idea that Jonathan Taylor can win MVP.
You're there.
I think I am. Because I didn't realize not only was he on pace to tie Tomlinson's record, he might break it. He's on pace to have well over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. And if they're this machine in the regular season that's going to lose 2 or 3 games and be the number one seed in the AFC, I mean, how is he not the guy that gets all the credit for what they're doing? Because I think you and I both agree. It's not Daniel Jones. Like he's not. Daniel Jones is doing well. He is not the reason why they're winning these games. It is Jonathan Taylor right now.
But will they split votes at all? Will Dimes take anything away from JT?
I don't think so. I think if you're, this is going to sound so arrogant. I think if you know what you're watching, you understand the dynamic at play with Daniel Jones. Like we talked about this, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, it was his first multi-touchdown passing game of the season. I think it was either you or Stormy who mentioned it to me. He's like, well, he's got rushing touchdowns. Like, yeah, but I think a vast majority of them have come via quarterback sneak. He had that one scramble 2 weeks ago against the Cardinals, I think it was, where he ran for a touchdown from 3 yards out. But he's keeping this team on track, but I don't know if he is accelerating it forward like Jonathan Taylor is with his explosiveness. Does that make sense?
Sure. And I'm with you, by the way. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate for a second here because I don't think Dimes is going to win it either. I think Jonathan Taylor, and by the way, he's doing it on the ground and in the air. Yep. And that's the magical number, right? Because LaDainian Tomlinson, when he did that, it's almost 20 years ago now, which I can't even, my God, you were a freshman in high school probably?
What year?
To 20 years ago? 05 probably?
Yeah, I was a freshman in
high school,
like that. Yes. Yep.
He ran away with the award, and he was the best player in football, right? Now, obviously, things have changed. The league has evolved a little bit. But you're telling me if Jonathan Taylor touches 30 touchdowns combined, on the ground and in the air, he's not going to get votes? I wish I had. I thought about it last week at 60, and I never pulled the trigger. Mm-hmm. So now, books after another 3-touchdown day out of him basically put him down around 20-1. Is there any rogue number out there that you've seen? And in fact, he's below that right now. I'm going to wait. So we record this pod every single Tuesday. And here in town, that's when Circa and Westgate will eventually come up with their numbers. I want to see what they're going to post before I do anything here with Jonathan Taylor.
No, I think that's fair. And for me, I'll be honest with you, because I know we're supposed to be, everything's supposed to be plus EV. Look, I'm a Colts guy. To me, I was talking about this with Doug Kazarian last night at the bar, because he was trying to lecture me on it. I'm like, Doug, I don't care. I'm a Colts guy. I don't want to sit here and watch Jonathan Taylor win MVP and me not have any part of this whatsoever.
Well, and by the way, but here's the deal, right? We also have 8 data points now.
Yeah.
So, yes, I don't have 400-1 in pocket from August, okay? But I told myself, too, I gave that up. And I had Jonathan Taylor, by the way, a couple years ago when he was actually in the MVP consideration at 500-1. And when they went to Buffalo, went scorched earth, I think I maybe brought this up on the podcast earlier in one of previous episode, or either that or was I on Follow the Money. National media members and on that broadcast that day were saying that Jonathan Taylor might be the MVP of the league. So I like to take flyers on guys, non-MVP players that are like in that neighborhood. I just didn't do it this year. But now that we know this halfway through the year or thereabouts, that he's on pace to maybe touch 30 touchdowns, like having right now, if you can find a 20-1 in pocket, I don't hate that.
Yeah. So you set up a couple of groups here. So walk us through this, because I do like this exercise. I also think there's only one answer for me, easily.
Oh, okay. And I think I set this up last night as the Chiefs game was like starting. So we could tinker with this. And also, I think this is an idea that books could copy, right, and steal, is that they could come up with like who's going to win the NFL MVP and make it like Group A, Group B, Group C.
Mitch, not to cut you off, but I think we brought this up on this podcast. We desperately need more markets around these awards because you get such big favorites by the time you get to the end of the year. I keep harping for over-under finishing position. You can go head-to-head finishing position on the ballot. You can do so many unique things with MVP markets nowadays if you really actually wanted to do it, and this is one of them too, in terms of your grouping.
How about this? I want to be able to go on my app and click on 3 players to win the MVP, and they'll give me a number on that.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So here's what I had last night. Again, this is before the Chiefs eventually took apart Washington in the second half last night. Group A, Mahomes, Stafford, Jonathan Taylor. Group B, Josh Allen, Drake Maye, Jared Goff. Group C would be the field. And we're talking Mayfield, Dimes, Jordan Love, Herbert, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, the entire rest of the NFL.
Yep.
You don't want anything to do with the field, is what my guess is.
No, I mean, I've got this Baker Mayfield ticket, and I think that he's still got a heartbeat. But the way the other two guys are starting to separate themselves, I mean, look, if they win the 1 seed, because I've got a bunch of Buck stuff. Either way, give me a Baker Mayfield MVP or a 1 seed for Tampa, and I'll be happy. But it seems like definitely the discourse has settled. I think he's still active and can still win it. But the discourse around it has settled for him because of the way Mahomes and I think Taylor and Drake Maye have been playing.
Well, 2 off games as well for Mayfield here now in a row. I think it's going to be Group A, by the way.
Yes, unequivocally.
But if I tinkered with that, though, and we move some of the quarterbacks around, and if I threw Jonathan Taylor in the field, that makes it more interesting then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially like even if you, for your grouping, if you were to just switch out Mahomes and Maye, so put Maye in Group A and then put Mahomes in Group B.
There you go.
That gives you a tempting like, oh, wow, I get Allen, Mahomes, and Jared Goff, and then you get Stafford and Maye in this unique group of like kind of, like those guys could actually totally win it, and they're a little bit longer in terms of the shots. Like, absolutely.
Yeah. By the way, if you do look, I think Stafford's live to win the award.
I did too. Somebody tweeted us yesterday and like brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah, like that's definitely something that's still in play.
There's no doubt it is. I mean, he leads the league with 17 touchdowns. I think he only has 2 INTs. That offense is absolutely fantastic. And they have a path here to be the 1 seed overall in the NFC. So that would come into play. We had Warren Sharp on the show on Monday, and he is great at looking ahead to future schedules. And he pointed out that he did this before I actually brought anything up with my May MVP ticket, that if you look ahead and look the opposing passing defenses that May takes on, it's like 25th overall in the league. Like he has an opportunity to go scorched earth. So other than MVP, let me throw this bet at you. And I bet it earlier this morning. Drake Maye to lead the league in passing yards. He's 114 off the lead right now. I mentioned the super easy pass defensive schedule that he has coming up. There's a chance here where they're going to be in a battle with Buffalo the entire year to win that division. So we're talking about playing the entire time, not sitting games, yada, yada, yada. 16-1 for a guy that has a 76% completion percentage 8 games into the season. I had to take that.
Yeah, I'll take that. That's pretty good. Man, there's so much that's out there. He's only 100. He's less than 150 off the lead, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah. And
I mean, I guess your risk would be their schedule's so easy he doesn't play the final week if something's wrapped up, but that's a risk in everything.
Well, possible. But again, my idea, and at that point, maybe I can get creative where because Stafford, I think, here's the deal. Stafford, I believe, is up there, and he's played 1 fewer game, so that could come back. But also then, like, if he's in the mix at the end, like, let's say it's down to Maye and, Stafford or whatever, then I could probably bet, like, some sort of a quarterback prop with Stafford that week, or go on the under on Maye in week 18 if he's going to play.
Yep.
Like there's a path here where he's going to be like either in the lead or very close to the lead with maybe a couple of weeks left.
No, I like it. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to stick with the NFL real quick just because we have some injuries that affected some awards markets. A gut-wrenching injury for this podcast as one team lost 2 Rookie of the Year candidates. We'll discuss that and more when we come back. All right, so I texted you over the weekend. You know, there's so much that goes on, and I miss all sorts of stuff, and I think we all do too, and I'm kind of catching up and going through everything. And I'm like, man, why is Carson Schlesinger all the way down to 40-1 to win Defensive Rookie of the Year? He got an interception today. And then I text you, and you're like, yeah, I think he got hurt. And then sure enough, I think like minutes after that, Rappaport tweets, yeah, high ankle sprain, probably 4 to 6 weeks. Just gut-wrenching. The guy was playing so well. And again, like I mentioned, the big interception of the game, like he had another highlight to him. Again, we can go over the resume. It all is for naught. And then in the same game, Quinshon Judkins goes down as well. It would seem that a Browns team that had 2 Rookie of the Year candidates are probably going to lose out both of them. And good for me, because I had tickets on both.
I do not have Judkins, but yeah, Schlesinger was the number 1 guy that I had. And I think I have another guy in Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's Upton Stout from San Francisco.
Sure.
But I think we were on the right guy there. I really do.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of football left, but if he were to stay healthy, I know Campbell was going to be tough to beat out in Philadelphia, but I think Schlesinger was going to have the numbers on a great defense at the end of the year that was going to be too difficult to ignore. And this, right, we're talking about the perils here, and we love betting. I mean, this podcast is called Pod of the Futures. We love future betting, love betting on awards, although I've dialed it back in recent years. The perils of betting this stuff, JVT, here's the list, right, of injuries that I have already on guys with award bets.
Mm-hmm.
Schlesinger at 35-1. He got down to what, like 4-1?
Yep.
To win the award. We thought he had a great chance. Offensive Player of the Year. Now, was Bucky Irving going to win? He was off to a slow start, but I thought he was going to put up great numbers with Tampa Bay. Out for several weeks. Puka Nacua 16-1 was the short shot. Christ, he was touching almost even money.
Yep.
With how, I mean, he was on pace he was the guy who was on pace to beat Cooper Kupp's record until he got hurt. The Darren Waller Comeback Player of the Year. That's shelved now. And then the most devastating injury from the weekend, though, and this is as a fan of the league as well, the Cam Scadaboo injury. Are you serious?
Yep.
I feel so awful for that kid. First of all, devastating injury, clearly done for the year. But he seems like the most likable kid, or one of the most likable kids in the entire league. And that was like a wrecking ball to the stomach when he went down for several reasons, right? Feeling, first of all, just you don't want kids to get hurt like that, number one. It's a huge blow to that team, and they're a lot of fun to watch. And then when it comes to actually betting and fantasy, I have them in 4 leagues. And I have them, 85-1 and 150-1 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And we were telling people like the last 3 weeks on this podcast, if you don't have a bet yet, like 28-1 on Cam still looks pretty good. And then that happens. Damn.
Mm-hmm. No, it sucks. I mean, luckily, I am still one of the few people that has not seen the injury for Scadaboo. So apparently they were replaying that bad boy quite a bit. I had missed the actual footage of it. Thank God I did not see it. And I hate doing this because I think I brought this up to Stormy yesterday, which is like, hey, you hate to be cold and callous, but it's like, all right, so then like, what's the ripple effects of this? Like, as we look at this, what do we look at? And I wanted to say something really quickly about one of these awards. For Defensive Rookie of the Year, we've kind of questioned and talked about whether or not Abdul Carter deserves to be the favorite in this market for a while. And I don't think he should be the favorite. Having said that, among rookies, he is the leader in total pressures by like a mile. Abdul Carter's got 32 total pressures. The next one is Donovan Ezaraku, for Dallas, who's got 17. So he's nearly lapping the field when it comes to overall pressures. But that's the only thing that it really has to his name. He only has 1 sack. I don't know if voters will look and say, well, he's getting a lot of pressure, so he deserves to run away with this thing. I still think we have a faulty favorite at the top in terms of how he is priced, but I at least understand why Abdul Carter is sticking around in this conversation. He is generating pressures. He's just not getting there.
Has your brain been able to adjust down the board at all and latch on to anybody else that might make sense? What about this angle with Jahdae Barron in Denver, with Surtain now probably going to miss multiple weeks?
Yeah.
Is there something where he now has to adjust and be maybe on the best receiver on the opposing team, and he steps his game up and turns into a force on a really good defense down the final, 8-9 weeks of the season, and maybe his numbers will go up, seeing a few more passes here and there?
I mean, I think it could. I do wonder if I feel like it's such a hard spot to be in when you look at playing that position and doing enough to get credit for being the best. Like when Surtain won the award, I mean, he had an incredible season for Defensive Player of the Year. Like, are the voters going to be nuanced enough to look at him and the way he's played? And also, I mean, for what it's worth, I don't know if it really does matter. Like the PFF coverage grade for him, things like that, it's actually not as high as one would assume. Yeah. So maybe there is some underlying metrics you can point to that says maybe he's not going to be as good. But to your point, with a larger workload, maybe that comes with some sort of improvement, and thus he's going to be front and center for a defense that's one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, because I got to be honest, like this is a difficult award to like really track. Again, we talked about that, like the PFF numbers, what that really means, and then like you're probably going to have a guy come out of nowhere and pick off a lot of passes that doesn't play like on the front four of a team, right? Or maybe even like playing linebacker. So it's tricky to make a case for some of these guys at this point. Yeah,
and the one that I'm kicking myself is that the week that we first brought up Schlesinger, the two that I brought up were Jahad Campbell and Carson Schlesinger, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with Carson just because, look, I think interior linebacker, racking up tackles, all sorts of things.
Right.
And I think Campbell still has like at 2-1 in an award that seems to kind of be a little mispriced, and who knows who can climb out from the pack if, injuries happen, whatever it is. But Campbell has been very good for Philadelphia, and I think you can make the argument he should actually be the favorite, and not Carter.
At this point. Yeah.
Do you do anything in Offensive Rookie of the Year? Should Dart be a favorite like this at plus 105?
I've been staring at it now for like 12 hours.
Like, I don't think. I don't think so. Tetero and McMillan with another big game. I know it was a loss, but Dalton was finding him left and right, big chunk plays. Like, he looked really good. I'll continue to pound the table for Tyler Warren, who's at plus 475. I think that this is kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, we have a quarterback and he's very popular, so let's just make him plus 105.
I think you're right. Playing in New York.
Yeah, but I don't think that reflects the accurate odds of his chances of winning this award.
Okay, Egbuka, no good for me here last couple of weeks, including that Monday night game when I thought he looked really good, but Mayfield just missed him like a dozen times. So let's trickle down the board a little bit here. You're right, Warren absolutely has a chance. What about the guy who plays the same position coming on like gangbusters for the Chargers and Gatson?
Yeah, could be it. 50-1 or so.
Then again, we're making a case for another tight end at a position that has never won. So the guy that I do not have any action on yet, and by the way, we're writing off guys like Travion Henderson. Yeah. Dillon Gabriel's not going to win the award. Harold Fannin can't win the award, although I love the guy. I'll throw out two guys. One would be Travis Hunter, with the uptick that we've seen now on the offensive side of the ball, and they finally figured this out in Jacksonville. Like, he has to get those snaps, and he has to run a ton of routes. And now he's finally putting up decent numbers here. Mm-hmm. The other one would be, we just watched R.J. Harvey go absolutely bananas against Dallas. But everybody goes bananas against Dallas.
Sure.
And he's triple digits to win the award.
Yeah, man, of the two, I think Hunter seems to be kind of coming on. And again, there's this like dynamic, I guess, defensively, but there's not really anything there. I don't know, man. I know I'm going to ignore what you just said to an extent, but I keep going back to McMillan.
No, McMillan, he at 15-1 in that range.
He's on pace to have a 1,000-yard season with Bryce Young and Andy Dalton as his quarterback rotation. If he can get a couple more touchdowns to his name, if you're like 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns in a somewhat weak Rookie of the Year class, he can't win that.
No, I think he could.
I don't want to keep adding to this award market, though.
No, neither do I. That's what I'm afraid of, right? I really am.
We're going to keep doing it over and over again.
So I don't have a piece of him at all. Now, if he wins, I'm not going to be surprised, and I will be devastated. I can't bet everybody. I got to fade a couple of these dudes,
I cannot believe how bad Andy Dalton was the other day.
My Lord.
That was incredible. He was fine to McMillan, but that was one of those weird blowouts where it's like, I think they might have had a shot if only their quarterback wasn't complete and utter ass.
Sure.
As they were watching it. But I can say that word, by the way. I can say
that. That's Not that Carolina's going to win the game, but I think it's a slightly different result if Bryce Young plays.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Like Bryce Young, he's not going to come in and stop James Cook.
No.
Obviously, but I think offensively they were going to be able to put up a couple, some points, and how that game played out, I think would have taken a different path.
Yep. All right, let's take a break here. When we come back, let's shift gears. National Basketball Association. It has been good, and I got to tell you, I have added an award in the Rookie of the Year market, so I've got a second one there. And there is a team, Mitch, that you're going to have to talk me off the ledge because I am ready to jump.
Ooh.
All right, before we get to my team that I'm ready to go all in on, we do enjoy when people send in tweets, texts. You don't know our addresses, mail, though. You would appreciate it. Little handwritten notes and whatnot. You can send them to Circa, 8 Fremont Street, courtesy of VSiN or whatever the hell you put on those envelopes. Don't send us the letters that Stormy gets. She tells me some stories. Don't send me those. But you can send us some really good letters with some questions in them. And we do have one. So I'll give you the floor here, Mitch. We have an NBA-themed question in our mailbag today.
All right, this is from Dub S. Cedric Coward, Rookie of the Year. Now, this was before Monday night. He kind of had an off game for the Grizzlies, but he was averaging 20 points, 70% shooting, and hitting about half of his threes taken, and he's around 40-1 to win Rookie of the Year in the NBA.
Yep. I would say I think you probably kind of down with it to an extent. I mean, he was he's a top 11 pick, so he's got like the pedigree. He's going to have the respect that you don't have to really fight for some of these guys. They are somewhat injured on the back end of their depth chart, so I think maybe you worry that when those guys start to get healthy, is he the one that gets phased out? But if he's going to continue to play like this, like you mentioned, only 9 points in 25 minutes against Golden State the other night, but surpassing 14 and having nearly 30 in the game against Indiana. If he's going to continue to play like this, I would assume he's going to force the Grizzlies' hand and just be part of the rotation. And let's give the Grizzlies credit to at least add some more strength to this resume here. They are a pretty solid player development team. Like, they get guys and they get them in the building, and there's a lot of dudes who get better, like young dudes, when they go and join that team. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something to be said of a dude like Coward being in the right position to play with a guy like Morant, who's going to set him up with his skill set and eventually, I think, be a competitor for this. So I would say, sure. Have you looked up? This is one that I should have looked up before here. If they're still hanging all rookie NBA odds, that might be something worth looking at too, instead of asking him to win the whole thing, as we keep kind of going back to those sort of deals where we call them our diet MVP bets or our diet, Rookie of the Year bets. Him being one of the 5 best rookies in the NBA, I think is something that's totally plausible as well.
We have to talk to Zach Cohen again about where he found that exactly, because I could not find that. I also was looking for first team all NBA, and I could not find that because I wanted to throw Tyrese Maxey out there at probably a very long, like, could he actually, rather than betting him to win the MVP, could be very difficult to pull off, obviously, could he actually make a run and be first team all NBA at some point? To your deal with Coward there with the rookie,
Yeah. I think he could. I was texting with Chris Massaro about this yesterday. They go out, and for those who are listening, this maybe a little bit down the road this week. Yesterday being Monday, they go out there and they beat Orlando and they play the way they do. Maxey's a big part of this team, and this backcourt in general has just been really kind of good, man.
Oh.
So you look at not only him and Edgecombe, but you have Quentin Grimes coming off the bench. I keep going back to it. It's the if not now when. To get to the theme of the podcast, I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world to invest in this team to win the Eastern Conference, dude. Like, I've got them at 18-1 to win the East. They're still out there. What are we looking at here for the Philadelphia 76ers? They're down to 9-1 already.
Oh, but boy, wow.
In a scenario in which this conference looks wide open, dude, if Embiid is healthy and Paul George comes back, that is a backcourt that is really nice and a team that is really balanced.
Okay, I didn't want to derail you. Was that your team that you had that you wanted to touch on, or was there somebody else?
No, that is not it. So you're going to have to talk me off the ledge on this. Thank you for reminding me. I think the Spurs are legitimately good. I think the Spurs are sick, and I don't know what to do with it because they really haven't played anybody. But Wembanyama,
I wouldn't say that. You guys are high in Toronto.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I'm high in Toronto, and they beat them. And here's the thing, because I keep saying this about. Go ahead.
Yeah, they beat the daylights out of Dallas.
Yes, and so that's what I was going to say, which is, I keep making this argument for the Colts where, yes, their schedule has been easy, but they've been beating the ever-loving piss out of every single one of those bad teams. So, like, I think that's okay, right? Where it's like, at least they're handling their business. San Antonio's doing that, but there's so many different things you can look at. You start with the obvious. I mean, Wembanyama, 33.3 points, 13 rebounds. And the crazy stat that I keep bringing up, last year, he averaged about 5.2 free throw attempts per game. He's at the 10 per game now.
Yeah.
He's getting inside. He's using his body. We already know he's good defensively. He looks legitimately like somebody who came into this season wanting to say, yeah, you know what? My last 2 seasons have been cut short with injury, especially last year. I'm the best player in the world, and I will show you that I am the best player in the world. It has been incredible. Just starting with him, it looks incredible.
Okay, so you have to love what we're seeing so far after working out with Hakeem Olajuwon in the offseason.
Yep.
So that tells me that he's going to work more down low and not be so perimeter oriented, right? So we go back to last week now, because Wednesday was really the true opening night of the NBA season. I'm watching Giannis go scorched earth on Washington at the same time San Antonio's tipping off, and I told you this. In my queue at the time, I had Giannis 14-1 to win MVP and Wemby 10-1. I decided I punted on both, right?
Yep.
So how do we capitalize right now on bets with the San Antonio Spurs if we're not going to bet Wemby at plus 270 to win the MVP? I know you have another bet on this team you want to run down in a second, but I found this at DraftKings, which I want to run by you.
Sure.
You can find conference finals matchups.
Ooh, yeah.
Which is another great way to look at this stuff. For example, the short shot in the West is Denver OKC plus 450. OKC versus Houston 7-1. Denver Houston 17-1. However, what about OKC versus San Antonio 22-1? Or Denver versus San Antonio 65-1?
That might be the way to do it. Like, when I say I'm trying not to jump off is where I'm trying to measure my expectations, and this will tie into what you're suggesting here. Realistically, what is their seed on a great season if they continue on this trajectory? I think they're top 6. I think, like, can they finish top 3 in terms of seeding? I know we've seen some surprising jumps from teams. That seems somewhat extreme. So I'm assuming that they're probably going to be 4, 5, 6, and probably closer to 6. So I bring all this up to say, realistically, who would they be playing in the first round? Who would they have to go through? And so to your point, OKC and Denver both being the options, because I think those are your options for 1 and 2 seed, like, the top seed this year. That would make a ton of sense that if they make this like 6 seed, they play on the 3 side, whatever it is, they could make it there and face one of those 2 teams.
Yeah, I think that they would have to avoid OKC and Denver in the first round, obviously.
Yeah.
Right, because then we're knocking off one of the other teams as well. So if they played Golden State in the first round, like if they, I don't know, Golden State's going to be really good, I think, this year. But if they played Houston, the West is loaded. But, I mean, if this guy's going to stay healthy the entire year and how much talent they have on this team, and by the way, you have another bet that you want to throw out there based on this?
Yeah. That's right, too.
I mean,
the team's great. No, I'm just going to say, the team's great. They're great. So I added Dillon Harper at 14-1 to win Rookie of the Year. Like, Bailey's gotten off to this start with whatever's going on with him. That's fine. I still think he has a shot to win this thing. But for those who haven't watched Harper play, go watch him. Like, he's in control of his body. He's big. He gets to the rim. He is very smooth. The other day, I think he had a 10 of 11 performance from the floor. Last night and again, we're recording this on Tuesday. You go back to last night when they play, and you're thinking, all right, well, against Toronto, he didn't really do that much. He only gave you 11 points. He added 6 rebounds and 6 assists on 4 of 9 shooting. Like, the dude has been solid coming off of the bench. Season stats right now, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4.3 assists on 48% shooting. He looks like a dude that has just hit the ground running in the NBA. And I think he's going to be one of the 5 best rookies. Obviously, the lineage, right, and his dad and what's gone on. Like, right. I think that is something that is worth adding. So I have 2 Rookie of the Years. Bailey got off to the slow start, but I added Harper at 14-1. I think I had to.
Put it this way. If Cooper Flagg had those season-long numbers that Harper has right now,
oh yeah,
won't we be going nuts about his start?
Yeah.
And I don't think Cooper's numbers are that good because he had a couple, but.
You're supposed to talk me off the ledge with San Antonio. It sounds like you pushed me.
No, I mean, I specifically tried to find bets on them for the podcast.
Dude, they're so good. It is a risk, but
look at what he did against Anthony Davis.
But the Anthony Davis, I sent I sent this to Justin, our producer, and Stormy the other day. If for those who didn't see it, go back and watch the highlights from Brooklyn. He has a sequence where on a defensive possession, he blocks 2 shot attempts. They get the rebound, they throw it up to him, and he pulls up from the logo and drains a 3. He's all over the place, dude. The guy's incredible. The newfound physicality is great.
Sure, absolutely. You have to love that, and we've never seen anything like this guy before.
Nope.
Like we're watching right now with Ohtani. Like I want to have some sort of a action on Wembanyama before it gets like too late. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, as we've said, you're laying minus 265 that he's going to stay healthy because he's going to win MVP, Freudian slip. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year if he plays 65 games. They're going to give it to him.
I agree.
That's the will he stay healthy bet. All right, anything NBA before we wrap things up here?
No, we can now bet at DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's not in Nevada. I'm thinking about actually going over the border to Arizona and making some of those conference finals bets.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. It would also be worth it if our state could maybe, get out of the dark ages and add some stuff, but that's a whole other can of worms.
Don't hold your breath, pal.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break, come back, wrap on a few more notes in the National Football League and college hoops, which is right around the corner. All right, Mitch, let's hit National Football League a couple of times. I know there's a couple of different angles you wanted to hit from a unique standpoint, and then we'll wrap on a little college basketball because I do have some thoughts on. I don't know how you handle it, but I do like to start start in the conference that I cover, which is the Mountain West. So, got some Mountain West thoughts coming up a little bit later that I can throw at you as well. But you have some unique NBA or some NFL props that we can hit on before we get out of here.
Well, let me throw this at you. How about James Cook? Most rushing yards. I know it's only plus 250, right. But on something like this now, you only have to wait really like 2 months to cash it. And, we're betting baseball divisions in February every year, and you got to wait 8 months to cash that kind of stuff. He has the most rushing yards per game in the league. He's only played 7 games. JT has played 8. Colts could have this division locked up down the road, right? They could run away with the South here. And as I said with the Drake Maye most passing yards bet, the Bills might be in a war with New England, meaning Cook's going to have to play the entire year, and he might not be sitting in case they don't run away with this division. He had like 194 yards with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, I believe, against Carolina. He could have the all-time record, right? So plus 250 right now, most rushing yards in the league.
I can get down with it. I think that you have 2 guys that are kind of in this, like you said, there's a game between them, so he's going to catch up theoretically with Jonathan Taylor, who's got a game on him. So one big game, and you're right there neck and neck. I would say it's worth looking at. I would also say, to your point, you mentioned the big one that I was going to bring up, which is if the Colts don't play Week 17 and the Bills have to play Week 18, then you're going to get that extra game on Indianapolis potentially. The other part too, if Indy continues to blow teams out, or at least these lesser teams, while it might not seem that big of a deal on the surface, dude, if you got like 3 or 4 more games where Taylor's sitting out most of like the fourth quarter or not having to play, that's way better for you if you're back in James Cook.
No question. There's that. And again, after another impressive showing by the Kansas City Chiefs, I wanted to run this by you. Like, what's a better... Quick. Yeah?
Are you going to move off? Because I have one thing on rushing leader that I wanted to throw out to you real quick.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Did you see what Dave Canales said yesterday?
I did not.
I am paraphrasing, but he said, I understand what Chuba Hubbard has done for us, but right now we have to understand what is best for the team. We brought this up 2 weeks ago.
No, we did.
He's 200 yards off the lead right now, but Rico Dowdle's averaging nearly 6 yards a carry. He's been explosive in this running game. Dowdle might be, one of those, hey, is that Rico Dowdle's music, right? maybe thrusting himself back into contention to lead the league in rushing. I just wanted to throw that out there because because, I have, like, Stormy's husband is a Carolina, like, he's from the area, so we have this, show tied to this thing. I also have, like, win totals. Like, I like this Carolina team, so we've oddly followed them closely. And one of the things that has been driving us nuts on the shows we have discussed is, like, dude, why are we going back to Chuba Hubbard when Rico Dowdle is just killing teams every time he's out there? They're finally going to come off of that. It took 2 games, but they're finally going to come off of it. And if they're going to go back to Dowdle, he's going to be live, man.
Oh, arms twisted. DraftKings, it appears they have 20-1. Caesars 50-1 on him. I just took a little 50 on him.
Yeah, 50's got to be it.
Why not?
Yep. All right. See? That's why I wanted to mention that. All right. What do you got?
There you go. Okay, so Chiefs, awesome yet again. AFC, like, how many of these teams are really, really good? Your Colts, at this point, I mean, you can't ignore their offensive numbers historically.
Yep.
They compare favorably with the best offenses we've ever seen. So they're awesome. But the Chiefs are turning into a unit once again. So if people want to get involved listening to this, right, and they are on board like, okay, I missed the best number on them, but I think they're going to win the AFC again. I have all my faith in Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid that it's inevitable, right? Would you recommend playing Chiefs and locking up some like Super Bowl exactas? For example, you could play the Chiefs against the Lions, Rams, Packers, Eagles, right? If you think they're going to win the AFC and play some exactas there, or would you rather lock them up with cross-sport parlays to win the AFC?
Ooh. I think I'd probably rather do some of the cross-sport parlays.
Okay.
Right, because doesn't that give you a little bit more maneuverability at times, especially like if they get there? You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, no doubt. And by the way, like, then I only gave you 4 teams in the NFC.
Yeah.
What if you leave a team off like Seattle and they get in? You know, and then you're going to lose out on that. Buccaneers, I don't know if they can win the NFC, and then you're also making like 4 different bets on these teams, because if you only do like one, if you only did like, let's say Chiefs versus Lions,
sure,
okay, that's all fun and dandy, but I got to tell you, Rams, Packers, Eagles, and one of these other teams could come out of the NFC no problem.
Yep. I mean, because you're right. Like the other day, because we talked about here, we approached futures with them differently. You bet them a 9-1 to win the whole thing, correct?
I did.
And I bet them to win the division. So they look like they're on the way toward achieving those goals. But to your point, I don't know, this might be hyperbolic. This looks like, if it's at full power, one of the best teams Mahomes has had from like a skill, you know what I mean, from a skill set standpoint.
That's where I'm at already now.
Yep. So,
I've done a 180, by the way. I mean, and we can change our opinions on this.
No, you have to stick with your opinion the whole way. That's what I heard.
First couple of weeks, right, we were saying, okay, if they don't have the luck go their way like last year, they're not winning 15 games. Well, they're not going to win 15 because they've already lost, 3?
Yep.
But overall, right now, the way that they're taking care of these teams, they look like a better team than last year.
They do. I mean, and here's the thing, too. As we're kind of discussing this, they could still take it on the chin the next couple of weeks. Like, their schedule is pretty tough. I mean, at Bills, at Broncos, and then home versus the Colts, and the Colts will be coming off of a bye after they go to Germany. So, like, that's heading into a road game against Dallas, like that on November 27th. You know, where they come out of this, or where they're at when we come out of November is going to be pretty telling. But I still think they're going to be great, and they're a team that is worth buying on. They seem to be, out of all of the, we'll call contenders in the AFC, they seem to be the team that has the fewest amount of flaws right now. Is that fair? I mean, like the Colts, as much as I love them, I will tell anybody that listens, their defense isn't good. And they keep kind of benefiting from these turnovers, and they're outscoring teams, and they're just kind of beating a bunch of teams in all of these sprints. Like that Chargers game, that was a little bit more sweaty than I think people really gave it credit for. Yeah, they cut it down to 14, and then the Chargers had the ball again to cut it to one possession game. So I'm with you. Like, I'm trying to find different ways to back KC.
Yeah, KC's defense obviously is legit. Yep. They're elite, maybe. The only flaw might be the running game. But, hey, how about this for a recipe? Pacheco goes for 50. Hunt goes for 35. Mahomes goes for 36. Worthy has 19. You know, I mean, that's, at the end of the day, they got 114 yards on the ground. Like, where'd that come from?
Dude, Andy Reid's brilliant at it, right? He does it all the time. We're manufacturing the run game through different ways. You know, whether it's getting guys out in space, doing whatever. Like I shouldn't say never, but in his time at Kansas City, they've never been that team where they're just lining up an I formation and running the ball down your throat. They supplement it in different ways. So
Agreed.
I'm with you. And I like some of those other options for you too when you look at like the exact matchups, even wanting to go maybe a little bit further down the board to like Seahawks 35-1 or so. I'd be down. I got to add a couple of these too.
All right. One thing I wanted to throw at you, but before the pod is done today.
Yeah, last 4 minutes. What do you got? I
did make a bet to win the national championship in college basketball over the weekend.
Okay.
These teams are playing, exhibition matches right now, some of the best teams in the country, and this is like my annual bet on the same team almost, but eventually this is going to cash. I'm a big Mark Pope guy.
Yeah.
I thought
How can you not be?
I love the dude. I thought the biggest addition at any head coaching spot last year in the country was at Kentucky. That's how much I dislike Calipari overall and how much I like Mark Pope. So they went out, they hosted Purdue at Rupp Arena on Friday night. Purdue is probably going to be preseason number 1. They're absolutely loaded to the gills. And they're the short shot to win the national title at most books.
Yeah.
Kentucky killed them, and they were without 2 of their better players. So I had to fire an 18-1. A lot of people are saying that they're the best team in the SEC. They have an awesome roster. Now, here's the thing in college basketball this year. At the top right now, there are a ton of really good teams. Like Purdue's going to be great. Houston's going to be phenomenal this year. Connecticut, same thing. The champs are going to be really good in Florida. We can keep going out. I think St. John's and Texas Tech are going to be great. But at that 18-1, if you can still find a number in that range, I think it's absolutely worth a bet. And I think probably within, let's say by Thanksgiving or end of November, 18-1 is going to be like 10-1, I think, on Kentucky.
I like it. I got to add some more national championship stuff to my portfolio because the only thing I'm looking at is to win a conference. That's a team that every time I read about them, there's nobody that will say a bad word about them at all. They look like they're arguably by the end of the year the best team in the country. And
even like the broadcast crew on the game against Purdue, they were saying this is the defense that will take Kentucky and put them over the top this year. Mark Pope put together that kind of a roster.
All right, I'm going to add it to my portfolio. Let me give you the last 2 minutes. I've got something for you here as well. So I'm a Mountain West guy. So I like to handicap Mountain West hoops. It's good. It's a good conference. We have some new faces in the Mountain West, and among them, because this is going to be the last year, for those who don't know, this is going to be the last year of the current iteration of the Mountain West. Next year, that's when all the team leaves with Pac-12 and everything like that. But as a big FU, the conference did add Grand Canyon this year to the Mountain West. So they will play a Mountain West schedule. They will be eligible to win the Mountain West. They are 11-1 to win the Mountain West. Bryce Drew's a really good coach, and I think this team, he only has one starter coming back. He killed it in the portal. He's got this kid from Norfolk State, Brian Moore Jr., 18 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists last year, 54% shooting. He actually brings in a former runner Rebel and Jaden Henley, 12-4 for the Rebels last year. He gets this big center from UC Riverside, 11-4. It's a really talented team. Drew has won at least 23 games in his last 4 seasons as head coach of Grand Canyon. It's kind of a down year for the Mountain West, it would seem. San Diego State is the well-deserving favorite. They look absolutely great on paper. But everywhere else, I think you have some real questions as to what these teams look like. And even New Mexico, for those who don't remember, this is a new looking team for New Mexico. Eric Olin, who is head coach at UC San Diego, is now the head coach for the Lobos, and he doesn't bring anybody from that UC San Diego team. It was an old team. So while I think he's a good coach, you're really kind of revamping with some different names that I don't think are going to be able to hit the ceiling like Grand Canyon is. I think San Diego State deserves to be favored, but I don't think Grand Canyon should be 11-1 to win this conference.
It's been a really good program, by the way. A total sleeper program out west. Would you say that they are the second best team then in the league entering the season?
I think that you could make the argument. I kind of acquiesce to Leon. Like Rice Leon Rice does such a good job at Boise State, and they do have some returning talent coming back. Where I think that I'm still going to be in position where I would give them the nod of, hey, you're the second best team here. He had a good transfer portal. Like he brought in Dillon Andrews from UCLA, former 4-star kid, Lehigh forward who averaged like 11-6 2 years ago, but he's recovering from a knee injury. There's some strong upside dudes on Boise. And because he's got the track record, I'd lean toward him, but I don't think I'm like arguing tooth and nail for it.
All right. That's awesome analysis, man. Great job out of you.
Looking forward to it. All right, man. I think that does it for this episode. Next week, we're going to effort to get on Greg Peterson so we can get like a bigger picture look at what's going on with college basketball. So that'll be a ton of fun. As by the time we talk next time, college hoop season will be underway. So please make sure, like, rate, review, subscribe. Go to VSiN.com. Check out everything we have to offer. College Guide is still up there as well as all these other tools. So until then, we'll talk to you next week here on Pod to the Future.
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at zero cost to you. Click the link in the description to sign up.